Hello, everybody. Welcome. If you can hear me, please give me a thumbs up. If you can hear me, please give me a thumbs up. There we go. All right. We're starting a little early today. Tesla is up 3.8%. Overall markets are up slightly. Utilities are down. Oil stocks are down. Megatech companies are flat, except for Tesla. Google is also up 1%. UPS down 9% today. Let's see what that's about. Since UPS is a transportation company, that may have some implications. If anybody is on YouTube Live as well, please come up to speaker board and just confirm. You can also hear it on YouTube Live. UPS down 9%, and the headlines say revenue above expectations, so that's not it. Tells investors the plans for the next 3 years. Doesn't say much. Reverses after plans to streamline, automate. Sees sales, profit revenue growth coming out of difficult 2023. It's interesting. Looks like it was up pre-market and then it came down. Interesting. It's been kind of drifting lower all day. 19 PE ratio, 4.5% dividend yield. UPS reverses after strategic initiative to streamline automate operations. I know Steven likes to go on YouTube Live. Let's see if Steven can hear us and also Wes Hicks. If either one of you please come up to speaker board and confirm that YouTube Live is working fine, I would appreciate that. Tesla up 3.5%, UPS down 9%. Looks like on some commentary on the earnings call, but I can't really tell exactly why from these headlines. It's probably because they don't know either. Usual transportation stocks are seen as a precursor of the economy overall. So, Steven, is YouTube Live working fine?
Yeah, it's good for me.
Okay, thank you. You can stay on speaker board and just stay muted. And if there's an issue, just tell me. And it doesn't have to be urgent. I'm just not in front of my laptop. I'm outside. It's a nice and sunny day in Austin. West 6, is it working fine for you too?
Yeah, it sure is.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Up 4%, $180. What do you guys make of this stock price action? Actually, West 6, let me ask you about Tesla's advertising strategy now that they're expanding into Facebook, Instagram. What do you make of that move?
I really like it. It's nice to see those efforts. What I haven't seen yet, and maybe it's happening, I just haven't noticed, with a small sample set that I have seen, is I don't see them really going after the core objections. For example, well, I don't want to buy an electric car because I can't travel around the country, or the price Tesla's cars cost too much. I have seen a little bit on that, but I think hopefully they're going right after the top objections, and they'll modify these advertisements to address those very clearly soon.
Yeah, they definitely are addressing the price point, right? I don't really hear a lot of. I can't go on like cross country road trips. I hear a lot of. I don't have 20 minutes, 30 minutes to charge. I hear that.
Yeah, I would almost tie those. Yeah, good.
I was just gonna say, people, they're just not ready. They don't feel ready for an EV lifestyle. Yeah.
It seems like they have some kind of misunderstanding as to what that is. So, anyways, I like Tesla's efforts. It almost seems, again, I've only seen a few advertisements, but it almost seems like they're trying to do too much in one advertisement. Like, hey, this is fun. It's a good price. It's easy to charge. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not a boom. Let's eliminate one thing. For example, price. Let's just kill the price conversation. Let's make sure everyone in the world knows that the prices are so ridiculously low that they go out and take a look for themselves, something like that.
But that's not even true, right? That's not even true.
What do you mean?
The Model 3 is still more expensive than, say, Camry, or Model Y is way more expensive than the RAV4.
Yeah, I don't know. I may have
if you qualify, except if you qualify for the federal tax credit. In that case, then it's cheaper.
Yeah, I may have misstated my point. I think just the concern I have about price is people think Teslas are incredibly expensive, and they're probably about 40% less than what they actually think they are using today's prices, because they just haven't looked at the website. They haven't looked for themselves in many cases.
How much do you think Tesla's spending? How much do you think Tesla's paying Facebook, Instagram, etc.?
I don't know. My core skill set's actually in sales, not advertising. I think we may have had a miscommunication on that in the past, but I really don't know. I don't know what that annual spend would be or what that looks like.
Yeah, you're probably right. Okay, let me ask you the recent Model Y presentation. What did you think of that?
I didn't see it, but I didn't watch it because I saw the 3 presentation about 2 weeks prior, and it seemed kind of like a basic presentation for people that aren't familiar with the car, which is great for that particular audience. But for that reason, I haven't watched the Y one yet, and I think Omar said in here shortly after that kind of seemed very basic as well. So I just haven't been motivated to check it out.
The Model Y presentation was different than the Model 3 presentation. The latter was by obviously the Franz and Lars, more technical. They were kind of, off the cuff answering questions, whereas the Model Y presentation was more choreographed. It's clear that she kind of practiced it, wrote it beforehand, probably practiced it a couple of times. I thought she did a great job. So I'd be curious about your thoughts on that one.
I'll take a look. And do you feel it was tuned in for an uninformed prospective customer?
Yeah, absolutely. I really think that she did a great job. Yeah.
Cool.
I don't think, however, that that's what's going to sell. The Tesla. Like, I think that if somebody is thinking about getting a Tesla already, if they've thought about it, you can probably convert that person with that kind of presentation. But if your concerns awareness, then it's going to be harder to do with that kind of presentation, I think.
Right, that makes sense.
Yeah, I thought she was really, like, I wish every single sales employee was like that, but that's not the case, obviously. All right. Any questions, comments? Please request to speak. We had 2 spaces yesterday for 3 hours each. We had a 12.3 ride this morning for about an hour, and I'm really tired, so I'm going to keep this one to an hour as well, I think, and then call the day. So any questions, comments? Now is the time.
I've got a question for anybody in the audience, speaker or otherwise. About 2 weeks ago, Tesla sent out or made an announcement that particular shareholders that qualify will have their Cybertruck order accelerated or expedited. And and all you have to do is kind of sign up here. And I did that. And they said the next step would be you'll receive an email. I've never received an email, and I'm wondering if anybody that's listening to this has received any kind of update on this topic.
Well, Martin Vieca said that they've been sending emails, right?
I did not hear that.
Oh, you didn't see his tweet?
No, I'll take a look though.
Let me see. Hold on, we have somebody coming up. James coming up.
Thank you.
James, go ahead.
Yeah, I just was wondering that myself this morning, and I don't know how you pronounce his name, but I went to his account and he said the first emails just started going out today.
And that was today you saw that?
Yeah.
Great info. Thank you.
Yeah, it was Martin Vicha. Is that how you say it?
I think it's Martin Vieca.
Vieca?
Yeah, I think so.
It says,
Go ahead.
it says, if you requested an early Cybertruck delivery, check your inbox. We just sent out a request for document submission, and that was 20 hours ago.
Right. James, what do you do for your professional life? What's your professional career?
I'm a retired government employee, and I have like 30 years background in human behavior, but I haven't worked since 2011.
Nice.
So with
congrats on your retirement.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, with my investments in Tesla and other investments, and then 32 years back pay from the VA for military injuries, I'm set.
Yeah, congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you.
So what do you mean when you say human behavior? What does that mean? Can you elaborate on that?
Well, in my 20s, I'm 57 now. in my 20s, I really got into personal development, and then somebody introduced me to Anthony Robbins,
Hmm.
and I was really negative about it. And then I started listening to him, and then I was like, "Whoa, I really like what he's teaching." And I found out about neuro linguistics. So neuro linguistics is the study of communication. Like 96% of our communication is all nonverbal.
Hmm.
So it just kind of set me on a path of wanting to become more of a quasi neuroscientist, I guess you could say.
Hmm. That's awesome. That's really cool.
Thank you.
How do you employ that when you're looking at your Tesla investments, or do you at all?
Neurolinguistics or personal development or
Just your experience. How does it help you kind of analyze your investments or Tesla in specific, or just investments in general, or does it not at all?
I guess it makes me a calmer investor because I don't stress out about if my stocks are going up or down or, if they're neutral, not doing anything. I just throw money in what I really believe in and just leave it there.
Hmm. Yeah,
But
that's awesome.
I guess I heard that investing is all psychological anyways and emotional, so I guess it helps with not letting the psychology of investing overwhelm my emotions, if that makes sense.
It does. How do you feel about Tesla stock these days?
I think you just have to be a long-term investor and just wait for the payoff. In fact, I was writing about that today that, the stock's been really low. And it's funny that the market and investors that don't believe in Tesla, I don't know if it's true or not, but suddenly have driven the stock up 5% based on the FSD trial
Hmm.
announcement yesterday, and then this all the feedback on 12.3. And I'm thinking if that's true, then that's just absolutely stupid and hypocritical that you don't even believe in the company, but you're gonna get excited about the hype of FSD,
Hmm.
if that makes sense.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, it does. It does.
I mean, what do you think drove it up 5% today?
I mean, that's probably, pre-market action is always low volume, and like you said, people have been waiting for this free trial milestone, so maybe there's some hype around that. Like you said, I mean, I agree with what you said. Yeah, that's probably it. There's a lot of AI hype right now. It's pretty substantial levels, and I can see it in my engagements too, in the replies, in people's responses, their reactions to what I say. Um, there's just about a handful or maybe a dozen stocks that people are really focused on, and they're all around AI stocks. So FSD is kind of Tesla's claim to AI right now, and maybe this free trial 12.3 wide release comments around this and that is causing a bit of the hype to kind of get into Tesla stock, and that's probably why the stock is up, a few percent pre-market, and that actually carried into the day. But on the other hand, the stock is also very undervalued too. So right now, I mean, it doesn't really surprise me if it pops 5-10% every now and then. The question is it going to continue?
Right. It's definitely a roller coaster ride right now, that's for sure.
Omar, what do you think?
Well, I think that the company could probably be worth 5 to 10 times more than it is today, long term. What's going to happen in the interim, the delivery numbers, there's going to be ups and downs along the way. Moments where things look good, moments where things look bad, but they're basically doing everything they said they were going to do. I mean, that's the thing about Elon is he just doesn't give up. He says we're going to do this really hard thing that takes, 10 years, maybe decades. And we're just going to consistently keep working to that. And okay, we're going to build a city on Mars. Okay, what can we do next? All right, let's build a bigger rocket. And okay, we got it to orbit. And yeah, I think humanoid robotics and FSD, a lot of people are looking at this. They're not making investments just for the hell of it. This is the next smartphone or bigger, AI robots. So it's very challenging to do, to make these things actually work in the real world and to be reliable. And Tesla, I think, is leading the way in that. So you're seeing some people, I think, start to recognize that. I mean, if they can grow FSD earnings, then it has the potential to return the company to earnings growth, right? So you just do the math. We got 2 million Teslas that can run FSD in North America, 400,000 of them already paying for it. So you have about 1.6 million new users who are going to be added in the free trial. Let's say, if all of them somehow decided to purchase it, that's about $19 billion of opportunity there. So if, 25% purchased it, that could be, $5 billion, which is, material. Even if a much smaller, 5%, even that is going to add $1 billion in. So it has the potential to, I think, return the company to earnings growth and tell a story where, okay, margins aren't just contracting indefinitely and might actually start expanding.
I was just thinking about a lot of the stuff you're saying, Omar, yesterday, that there's not any goal that I can see that Tesla has not achieved. And it seems like they're still 100% on track with their master plan. And that's what's so mind boggling about others not seeing that.
Yeah, they said, we're going to do our own battery cells. People laughed. They said, you can't do your own battery cells. It's too hard. Of course, it was very hard. It took a long time, but right below me, I got a vehicle in my garage with Tesla made cells made in Texas. And they said, okay, you can't do self driving with cameras. I've also got another car in that garage running FSD Beta 12. So, all these seemingly impossible things, they're getting done. People actually said you can't bring the Cybertruck to market. It's too weird. Well, they figured out a way to do that and make it a great vehicle. Not just a weird looking vehicle, but a vehicle that's actually great to drive. So, I think they're going to solve autonomy. I really do. I've taken tons of Waymo driverless rides. Like I say, it's now normal. It's works every time. So it's absolutely possible to build a service that just works every time. And that's what we're seeing happen here. People's belief, they're stunned. They can't believe it. They're coming around slowly, but they're so used to so many years of waiting and not really seeing much of a difference that they don't want to admit what I think is, becoming obvious. There's an AI boom, compute is expanding rapidly, data is expanding rapidly. I mean, we're going to cross 1 billion miles probably much sooner than I expected. And I think the writing's kind of on the wall. Generalized autonomy is going to be deployed around the world in the next, you know, few years, really. It's already in some places. Soon it's going to be everywhere. And this changes everything in the auto industry. Every business model is broken, basically. So it's going to be interesting. And that's only obviously a fraction of the whole robotics market.
Maybe that's the key, that people have been so disappointed over the years and the decades of their investments or their promised returns on profits have always fallen through, and Tesla's so unbelievably successful that it's just hard for some investors to truly put all their money into Tesla.
Any questions, comments? Please request to speak. I went for a 1 hour ride this. I went for a 1 hour ride this morning, Omar. No disengagements. I had to adjust the speed once by a couple miles.
Did you not turn on auto speed?
I mean, it was adjusting. Actually, I don't know.
Yeah, you have to go
I don't
into
know if I turned-
autopilot settings and turn on the auto speed setting.
Oh, yeah, I didn't. I don't think I did that. I'll try that next time. Wessex.
Yeah, by the way, I think I'm the only person in the country that doesn't have 12 yet. Maybe that's not true, but seems like everybody else has it. I was just going back to the previous conversation about the stock. I think we're at the end of the, being evaluated as an automobile company. This isn't short-term financial advice or anything like that, but I think that, if our numbers aren't so great here in about a week or so for the deliveries and production, and we take another dip.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with the premise that Tesla's being valued as an auto company right now. 500 billion plus automaker.
Yeah.
What do you
No,
mean?
I-
You present the
agree.
premise that is wrong.
No, I think it's a little bit of both. I think if it was purely auto, clearly we would have a lower market cap. Clearly, so you're right. But it's not, we're not really perceived as a strong AI play at the moment. I think the important context on that is, Tesla's been saying for years that full self-driving, this is the year. We all know that, right? But we're actually at the year now. This is actually the moment, I think. And so I think that's the difference, is that the next 12 months, whether it be the rest of this year or the beginning of next, I think are going to be spectacular. And so I think that specifically will be a shift away from caring about the delivery and production numbers. We'll care some, right? But I think full self-driving will sell the cars. The AI story will sell the stock. And I just think we're at that moment right now.
If Machine was here, he would tell you that too, but he's not here anymore. What evidence do you have? There's a rhetoric out there that Tesla is being valued as an auto company. What evidence do you have that is the case?
Well, I just, it's like, I don't know that I have clear evidence. What I would say is the bears have enough traction, like Gordon and Ross, who I consider a bear, are still able to get plenty of airtime discussing the downside of the automobile market, the low margins, or the less than the lower growth percentage expected this year compared to the past. I think that's the evidence that we hear out there, and I think that stuff's not going to matter soon. I mean, for example, what's Gordon going to say when full self-driving is truly working the way we want it to, and everybody's buying cars simply because they want to get their hands on this software, and we can dictate or command a higher price point for FSD and frankly the cars. He won't have much to say.
Yeah, if Tesla was valued as an auto company, it would be less than $100 billion today, not $560 billion. So clearly there's some credit being given to other things like Tesla Energy, FSD. I don't think Optimus is in there. But, we also don't, most people would say it's still uncertain. It's going to come to market in volume accepted by society, going to be the winner. Some people say that there's going to be many criminals, for example. But I think there's some value being assigned to FSD as ADAS. And then others will tell you that FSD as robotaxi is uncertain how profitable it's going to be. we have numbers from a 2019 presentation by Elon, $30,000 of gross profits per year. But we don't know even if he believes that, those numbers anymore. It's 2024 now. Things have changed.
I agree with everything you said.
Yeah. So I think we're going to get the energy installs in a few days. Megapack battery installations next week. Right, Omar?
That's what they said, yeah.
Yeah, they're supposed to be included in the production delivery numbers. Any questions, comments? Please request to speak. So, Omar, what do you think is going to happen? How do you think this free trial period is going to play out in the next few weeks here? So we're supposed to be getting that for the entire, is it U.S. fleet or North America fleet this week, right?
Yeah, the free trial should be going out this week. Presumably, we did hear from Tesla Scope that there's a 12.3.2 now rolling out to employees, and this is going to be based on a 2024 branch. So this should allow for all of the end of quarter deliveries and service appointments and everything to have the software installed, the 12.3.2 software, which is the latest software. And once you can install it on all vehicles, even I think the new Model 3 should be coming up fairly quickly. Then we're in a good situation where pretty much all of the sexy vehicles can run FSD. So I think this is going to be sort of a chat GPT moment for everybody to realize what their car's capability is. I think even if they've tried FSD 11, they're going to be blown away by what 12 can do. And yeah, I think a lot of people are going to like it. The question is really how many people end up keeping it. And there's been a lot of discussion on X on sort of what this business model should look like. If this is going to be something that every Tesla owner uses, what should the ideal business model for that be? Does the price need to be changed? Are there some terms that need to be changed? Do you need to allow transfer? Do you need to allow it to stay with your account? Should you do like a day pass for $20 or per mile pricing or something in active? So I think there may be some adjustment of the business model needed as we move into this new phase. But I think the interest is going to be very high. The demand is going to be very high. Everybody's going to want to have it on their car. The question really is, how many of them think it's worth it?
Yeah. So let's fast forward into April. Let's assume April is the month where everybody gets the FSD trial, and Tesla Scope yesterday said that April is going to be one of the most exciting months in the company's history. That we're going to get actual smart summon as well, including Canada. He said, right? So he said Canada will definitely get V12.3.2, which is supposed to be the one that merged with the main branch, the development branch. So, which is supposed to have the actual smart summon. And he also said, actually, smart summon, when it first rolled out to employees 3 months ago, was mixed results. But since then, it's improved a lot with many no intervention rides. So, what do you think of the videos that are being posted about Auto Park?
Looks great so far from what I've seen.
So, you're welcome. How are you?
Good. How's it going?
Good. Any news today?
Tesla's started advertising on cars.com. There's like a new news section in the Tesla app, which I thought was interesting. Looks like they're testing that out. It's a little hard to find, but a Tesla employee put the sort of navigation directions in the replies below my post if people want to check that out. And that's pretty much it.
Nice. Isn't cars.com the website where a few months ago we had some postings and then Elon was like, this is the first time I'm seeing it? Or was that a different website?
I think that might have been a different website. This is the first time I've seen an ad, like a Tesla ad, directly on the homepage of Cars.com. And they state that company states they get about 27 million visitors per month. And even if I go in a private browser and I type in just Cars.com, boom, it's like right there on the homepage. So it's not just targeted towards me because I like Tesla. So yeah, it's interesting to see Tesla really expanding their efforts.
Yeah, I'm trying to find an estimate of how much they might be spending annualized today between Instagram, Facebook, Cars.com now, a bunch of other websites, Google.
Yeah, I guess the only way you can really do a rough estimate is if you look at how many views maybe the ads are getting. But not every, like Cars.com won't tell you that, but you can see that I think on Instagram and Facebook and stuff. But it's tough to know. It's probably still not all that much, but it definitely seems like it's ramping up.
Yeah. Any questions, comments? Please request to speak. Sawyer, are you done with your Cybertruck demo, or do you still have it?
Yeah, I dropped it off on Sunday.
Are you going to order one?
I think I obviously prices are going to come down over time, and obviously I don't want to spend 6 figures on a truck. So I would encourage people to wait until the non-foundation versions come out, which should also qualify for the EV tax credit, making it even more affordable. But as they work through the backlog, prices will naturally come down, and the value proposition will only get better. So I would encourage most people to wait.
Omar, if you had to sell one of your Teslas, which one would you sell, and which one would you keep?
Oh, fuck. I mean, that's a hard question.
I feel like if FSD was on the Cybertruck right now, that would be an easier
Yeah,
thing to
if
answer.
FSD was on the Cybertruck, then I'd say, all right, I'll take the Cybertruck. But with Model S as my only FSD vehicle, it would definitely be hard to part with it.
I mean, FSD is going to come to Cybertruck in a few weeks, right?
In just 2 weeks, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if that's the consideration, then just stick with the Cybertruck because it'll eventually get there.
I mean, Model S has some nice things about it. I like it. I feel much more. First of all, my Model S is faster. It goes 0 to 60 in 3 seconds versus the Cybertruck in 4. I'm more comfortable driving it fast because it's smaller and easy to maneuver. The range is 400 miles on that thing compared to about 340 on my Cybertruck. So, faster to charge, cheaper road trips, that kind of stuff. It's a little smaller, so I can park it in my garage, in my parents' garage, and it's a little bit less tight than the Cybertruck. Um, so there's benefits to both, but the Cybertruck has a better ride quality, better comfort. Um, Probably more fun vehicle to drive overall. It puts a smile on my face. Once it has FSD, I would probably maybe say the Cybertruck if I had to pick one, but I do love the Model S too. I think the Model S and X are very underrated, especially with the Cybertruck now here. They're even more in the shadow of the other vehicles than before, but they continue to be just really great daily drivers.
Oh, we have Alex in here. If he wants to come up, he's welcome. Any questions, comments? Please request to speak. Wessex?
Yeah, just two quick questions. This might be for Omar and Sawyer. I'm replying to Martin Vieca regarding we were just talking about, he announced that an email went out to the people that are shareholders that are getting expedited Cybertrucks. Anyways, long story short, if I reply back publicly and I include my RN number, does that create any kind of security problem for me or any other problems you'd anticipate, or is that no big deal, in your opinion?
No, it won't create a security problem. You'll be fine.
Cool,
People
thanks.
just block
And
that out just because, but it really doesn't matter.
thanks. Yeah, I didn't think so, but you never know. And Yaman, last night, congrats on having a really huge call with everybody. I noticed we got over 1,000 people. Was that all simply because of the FSD announcements, or was there anything else? I got in a little bit late on that call.
Yeah, we had more than 1,000 people at one time, and a total of more than 10,000 people who tuned in live. And then obviously that kind of keeps going as people listen to the recording. Yeah, I mean, Telescope was nice enough to come in here and share the news that he had a couple hours before he publishing his own thread. And we had the FSD ride as well. And then Omar shared the link with, with Elon. I think that broadened some people as well, even though he didn't come in. Yeah, it's kind of snowballs as people share. It was a good run. Meta.
Yeah, your reservation number probably doesn't matter to anybody outside of like Tesla employees maybe having access to it, but your VIN number, you shouldn't share that because people can look up your address from there, or at least where the vehicle's registered.
Thank you.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, you can
Cool.
look up a lot of information with a VIN number.
For example, does
else?
it? Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
What else can you look up?
Crash history, things about the vehicle, but the address is the thing that you probably don't want to be giving away, or your name.
Yeah. Basics.
Yeah, is it your home address it gives away, or is it more of a regional address? What do you mean?
I think it's where your vehicle's registered.
State, county, something like that?
When you register your vehicle, you give them an address. Whatever you give them that address, that's what they have. If you're using a PO box, probably that's what it is.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Tesla 420.
Hey Omar, so I'm taking delivery of my Model 3 on Saturday. Can I wait until Saturday to put the down payment on the car, or should I do that ahead of time through the app?
Well, yeah, you can wait until Saturday. You just need to do it before you take delivery. And you can do it in the app. So, morning of, you can hit the button and start the transfer and then go get the car.
Sweet, awesome. Thanks.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thanks. I'm excited. Got the ultra red long range.
Oh, that's a good choice. I have the Ultra Red too on my Model S. It looks really good.
Thanks.
Meta, how do you think the next few weeks will play out with FSD trial? How many people do you think will sign up? How many people do you think will use it? And then how many people will opt to use it after the trial?
I think everybody who can sign up, actually no, probably like 80% of people who can sign up will sign up. Actually, I'm going to try and ground this. I posted a little while ago the post of the chasm graph. If we look at that graph, I will say all the laggards, so 16% of people probably won't install it. And then let's say 15% has already got it. An additional 34 to 68% will probably be the people using it. And I think if pricing wasn't the issue, we'd probably get another 34% to adopt it after V12. But with pricing, maybe it's closer to 17% additional. And this is just I'm guessing half.
So how many people after the trial is over do you think will be using FSD? The month after the trial is over.
Somewhere around 22%.
Yeah. I heard a good idea the other day. One of our listeners replied to one of my tweets and said, maybe Tesla after the trial should offer an incentive after the trial ends, and say something like, if you sign up after the trial, you'll get it for $99 a month instead of $199 a month. But if you don't, then you have to pay the $199 afterwards. If you choose not to sign up after the free trial, it reverts back to the original pricing.
I want to correct what I said. I did my math wrong. It wasn't around 22. Based on what I stated earlier, it's around 32. 17 plus 15.
Okay, what do you think of the idea?
I think it's a great idea. I think that bumps the number 17 potentially up to 30. So then you could get like closer to half.
So you're saying that we can have 1 million users in about 3 to 4 months.
If they drop the price by half, yes, I think that could be the case.
Yeah. Omar, what do you think about that idea?
I think it's going to be important though to make sure Tesla is clear in their messaging to to Tesla owners that there is a subscription, because very few people, like even a lot of Tesla owners, have no clue that this FSD subscription even exists. So I think just whatever pop up that Tesla does, like, hey, your free trial, just make sure that I hope that they just state like right below that you can do this for like $199 a month afterwards. You don't need to pay the 12 grand up front, which I think is what causes a lot of people not to do it.
Yeah, so free trial is going to go out. Question one is, how many people actually realize that they got a free trial of FSD 12? With poor execution, they may not realize it. What I would expect Tesla to do is once you install it, there's one of those little pop ups on the side or some big screen that pops up. That's kind of hard to ignore that tells you to try it. I would hope that, but I don't expect this. This is maybe asking for too much. I would hope there'd be like a little video and it would actually give them a little primer on how to use it properly, tell them they have to pay attention, etc. Say, look, you may have to take over, you know, that would be nice. They have an existing video. Hopefully they do a new one for FSD beta, but I'm not expecting much there. That may be hoping for too much. And so then they try it and they use it. And pretty much everybody, I think, more than 50% of the people who try it, maybe even as high as, 70% or 80%, are going to like it. They're going to want it. So that's the first step is people have to know that it exists and they have to want it before they'll consider making a purchase. So we get them all to want it. Then there's the question of the people who want it, how many people actually convert and actually buy it because they find the price is acceptable to them. There's going to be a fair number of people who say, you know what, I like this a lot. I would love to use this. And I was just reading comments from people today. One guy said, I used it 90% of the time. I loved it, but I just can't afford $2,400 a month. So I canceled it when I needed to cut back on my expenses. That was one of the first things I cut back on. So, you know, I think 20% would be a big success if of the, you know, 1.6 million that went out, 320,000 decided to keep it. We more than doubled the users, or almost doubled the users. Then I would consider that to be a big success. Like 50% or something would be like, wow, holy shit. If they go over 40%, then conversion rate, then we cross 1 million users. But it could be like 5%, 10%, 20%. So 20% I would kind of consider a win in terms of people who actually ended up buying or subscribing. But then I think Tesla will look at the conversion rate and maybe make some adjustments to the business model. So, just cutting the price, I think risks pissing people off, people who bought it or subscribed to it or whatever. So you maybe want to be careful about that. I mean, I think you could actually raise the price for for buying it like unlimited and maybe even subscribing over time. But if you just introduce some more affordable options, like if you introduce a day pass, some people say, well, I'm a pilot. I'm not at my car a lot of the time. I'd love to buy it for road trips or, when I am there, if I could have a more granular sort of option. I think $20 for a day pass so that somebody who uses it more than $10 a month, it's cheaper for them to subscribe. That'd be good. Or just have it activated on every car and charge on a per mile basis. I think then it actually adds a lot of value to the subscription and the purchase because you see the bill sort of racking up. Okay, I've been paying $20 a day or per mile or whatever. I'm paying all this. Wouldn't it be nice to not have to do that? Okay, let me just subscribe or buy it. But there's a lot of things you want to be careful of too. You don't want a situation where, for example, someone's getting charged and they don't realize it and they're kind of shocked when they find a bill. for FSD that they didn't realize or something. You want to make sure that the pricing is simple. You want to make sure that the user experience isn't annoying, but you want to make sure that it's something that almost every Tesla customer can buy and can afford to buy.
I've noticed I have a couple of friends and family members who bought FSD for I think it was 15,000 at the time a couple years ago when they got their new Model Ys. And to this day, I think they've only tried it maybe once, like both of them, because they're just scared to use it. So I hope Tesla makes clear that this version that they're like getting a free trial for is really good. It's the smoothest version ever. And I don't know, just to make them feel more comfortable, maybe they can show a quick video of like their on the pop-up that they get on the screen or something. Because I know that's a big barrier for people. Is it gonna be safe? Is it comfortable? Am I not gonna be able to react in time? Like just stuff to make people comfortable to actually take advantage of the free trial. Because I really feel like experiencing is believing, but you can't believe if you don't experience it, if you're too scared to. So yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a good point. And I think it's they have to really show the pace of improvement. So that's why I think it's also so crucial that they pick this time frame for the month trial. I mean, first of all, it's the last week of the quarter. So if they do it this week, they can say, okay, at the end of the quarter we had, 2 million FSD users or whatever, at least right now. And during this month, they've talked about a number of improvements. The free trial users would presumably get 12.3 if it's going out this week. So they get 12.3.2. Then during the free trial period, they get Auto Park, they get Smart Summon, and they get the improvements that are going to come to the model in 12.4. So they're not only seeing one update that's a much better update than anything they've tried, but actually getting a few updates and hopefully thinking, wow, okay, there may be a few issues here and there, but this trajectory of improvements looks really good. And I think that could maybe sell them on it, assuming everything ships within that 1 month trial as expected. So it could be a very costly delay if they don't actually manage to ship Smart Summit in April as they planned.
Meta.
Yeah, I was going to suggest for the free trial period, if they want to drive up engagement soon after, whether it's during the free trial or after, they could probably go to all their Tesla insurance customers and not cover the vehicle while it's under FSD, but to say you get a discount for the percentage of your miles done on FSD.
So Elon said last night that all capable, like FSD capable vehicles in the US are gonna get the F3 trial. I think he said next week. But the new Model 3 page, order configurator page, it says it's not eligible, whereas all the other models are. So are all the new Model 3 owners gonna get it? Or I mean, if Elon said all, I assume it's all, but
I think it means not Model 3 and not Cybertruck.
I think they will also get a free trial once it's available for that model. And I think it is coming pretty soon, hopefully.
Yeah, Meta, I like that idea. Make them a percentage of miles deducted from your insurance payment. Do you think they will do that though?
Rationally, I think they're trying to drive up the amount of miles being driven, and you can only expand that with a free trial so much. At some point, you don't have enough of a fleet. So we're seeing based on FSD beta dash, the beta tracker, roughly 300% reduction in disengagements. That means if they 3x the amount of cars on the that have FSD, they're kind of break even. If we see a similar reduction in a future dot update, the only way they could continue to increase the disengagement, the overall disengagement number, so that they can keep their pipelines full, is by trying to get people to drive more on FSD. So I think they would have to come up with other incentives. So the insurance thing could be one way to do it. They might be more creative and come up with something better.
Yeah, bundling with some of their other services is interesting. Insurance is one that people have talked about a lot. where maybe you could do more of a bundling thing. Maybe Tesla insurance customers can bundle FSD more cheaply, or even like supercharging. If you had some type of deal where you could buy supercharging for a trip and throw in some FSD too, based on the number of miles or something like that. I mean, again, we don't want to overcomplicate it. Like when you add in all these ideas together, it just gets really difficult for a consumer to figure out what the hell is even going on. So I think they need to arrive at something simple, but there definitely are some interesting possibilities with bundling their other products and services.
It's like an
Yep.
infomercial, like buy 1 month now, get a second month free. But wait, there's more.
You have to be careful though. They don't want to accidentally make it look cheap and make it look like a bad product either.
Any other questions, comments? Please request to speak. To the earlier point about Elon saying all cars will qualify, but the Model 3 is not there. I agree with Machine, who said yesterday, or was it the day before? I think Elon's looking at his Q1 numbers and he's like, need to do something, and he's kind of throwing out ideas. And because he's not as close to Tesla that he was 4 or 5 years ago, with everything else going on in his life with Neuralink and every other company, I think he's kind of, as he usually does, tweets ahead of checking in with the employees and just says make it happen.
Can you remind us what the numbers are that Tesla's currently collecting in data from FSD drivers?
What do you mean?
I don't know. I guess they call it miles driven on FSD.
Yeah, so Tesla has accumulated about hundreds of millions of miles on FSD. Clearly, I think the limiting factor is people who do have FSD haven't been using it, but I think V12 has great potential to change that, and so we'll find out. And I think Tesla's hoping that FSD trial, 1 month free trial, will do that, but it's to be seen, TBD. And
I think they're at 850 million cumulative FSD beta miles to date. I think from Omar's counter.
But how many miles? I heard somewhere somebody figured out how many miles they're gaining per minute or hour or day or something like that currently.
nobody knows. Those are just estimates.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, you can look at the previous data points they've added, and between them, they're adding about 2.2 million miles a day. But I would expect FSD 12 probably accelerates that.
I was just wondering what the numbers are going to look like if, let's say, 40% of the people out there do take advantage of the free trial.
Dude, most people won't even know that there's a free trial going.
Not everybody updates their car right away. Like even if you look at Teslafy, right, there's still people on old versions, and these are people who are enough of a fan of Tesla that they bothered to install an app to track stats. So we should not assume that all cars will get the update within the month.
I just wanted to share too. It's kind of crazy because I've been on FSD 11.4.9 for a few months, and I've actually had several service appointments with Tesla in probably the 9 months that I've actually owned the car. And even whenever I've suggested, hey, let's go on a trial or a demo run, let me show you the problem. They've been like, well, we'll do that if it comes to it. And it's funny, I've actually had a request pending for about a week. And then as soon as this email comes out, or excuse me, the post comes from Elon, hey, let's actually require demos from service appointments as well. The Tesla team responds to me today and says, hey, actually, this is going to be required for, we're going to go on a demo drive actually, or they didn't say demo specifically, but hey, we're going to actually need a ride along for, a pretty standard fix too, which was just kind of a wheel curb. I just thought that was super interesting.
Yeah, I have some friends. Actually, one friend got FSD 12 on their car, and they haven't installed it yet because they don't have Wi-Fi in their apartment. So they're waiting for me to come over tomorrow and take their car and install it with my hotspot so that they can finally use 12. So this is like what we're talking about here with your average normal person Tesla user who's not refreshing X every 5 seconds going, "Oh, did they finally release 12.3 on the 2024 branch?" Your average person is like, "Oh, there's a little orange icon in the corner, who gives a fuck? I need to go somewhere." Right? So I hope what they'll actually do is push the trial out over cellular. They have the capability to do this. In the early days, early access FSD builds always got pushed out over cellular. So I didn't have a apartment in San Francisco. It was hard for me to get Wi-Fi. They just push it right out to me over cellular. Obviously, it's going to be expensive. AT&T charges them for the bandwidth they use to push out this big update over cellular. It may actually cost millions of dollars to do it, but I think they should do it and just push it out to everyone over cellular so that everyone gets to take advantage of the free trial. Because if they don't, it's going to be a lot slower for people to install it. Not everyone has access to Wi-Fi.
Alex,
Yo, how's everybody doing?
doing well? I'm tired a little bit today. 2 spaces yesterday, 1 this morning, but that's why we have every other speaker. What's new with you?
Honestly, I like what Tesla's doing with the free trial and the little course when you take delivery. But I think people are hyping this a little too much. It will, marginally increase uptake of FSD, but I don't think we're going to see anything really really meaningful in the short term. Not until, FSD is complete.
Define meaningful.
Not marginal. I don't know.
I
It's
meant
like
in terms
it's
of a
hard to put it.
percentage.
Oh, I don't know. I'd be hard pressed to say, but yeah, and I don't think people are gonna clump. The thing I think people underestimate is basically, there's we all have agency over what we do. So when you drive a car, you're supervising yourself, right? And you don't attribute a cost to that because it's just what you do. You drive, you pay attention to some extent, not fully, that's for sure. But you don't attribute a cost to that. So to supervise somebody else, like a drive, whether it's FSD or it's another person that you're teaching to drive, is so much more involved for people. Like the cost is so much higher that people might be inclined to try something, and then first time FSD does one dumb thing, they're going to say, "Oh no, not for me. I'd rather drive." But the fact is like if you had a car, if every car on the road would, like, every time the driver doesn't pay attention, would like stop on the side of the road and for 5 minutes every time, cars wouldn't be going anywhere. But people still view that as zero cost because that doesn't happen. So they text, they drink and drive, they do all sorts of things, and they think that's normal. And supervising somebody else is way higher, and having to pay for that, I don't think we're there yet. FSD will have to be like fully complete, be able to drive you around and then go back home to pick up your kids, send them to school, pick them up, do all sorts of things for people to say, well, yeah, this thing works 100% and it's worth $200 a month or 12,000 or whatever it will be if the price you can buy it up front at that point. But aside from that, I don't think people will be, it's a big deal to give up your agency when you drive. And I think people aren't ready for that. But it's still a good thing that they're doing, because from where we are to where we're going, there has to be at some point a step where awareness is increased about that it exists, that it works to some extent, how much it costs. All these things have to happen. So if they're happening now, it is bullish, in my opinion, that they're doing this now. But I don't see materially on, on earnings to have like a massive impact. Maybe a little marginal impact, and maybe also a temporary marginal impact, meaning that a few people will subscribe, but then after a month they'll say, "Eesh, that's not for me. I'll go back to the other thing." I don't see $200 worth of value in there. And again, I'll just
Alex, I think
caveat
you're
that with traffic also. There's some regions where traffic is like murder, and having the car, just taking care of you while you're like in stop and go traffic, that might be like a lot of value there for some people though.
so
Go ahead.
I hear what you're saying. The thing though is you could say the same things about when automatic transmissions came out, and it wasn't that much more work for people to just shift the gears themselves. A lot of people swore they would never switch over. uh, there are laggards, right? And thanks to Yaman for posting the chart up, but like there is, we're not talking about everybody. I think you're taking the extreme examples of the people who are really resistant and applying it to everyone. There are a ton of early adopters who just don't want to be like using alpha software, but they're okay with some bugs. And I think that's the group that's being targeted next. So even if we just get, I think what we should think about is like what percentage of the early adopters, and if we just take the Chasm books numbers, which I think probably fair, especially given that the current take rate is about 15%, which the book predicts would be the take rate. Um, what percentage of the next 34% can be gotten with V12 should be the question.
All right, guys, just quick announcement. I'm ending the YouTube live. So if you're in YouTube live, head over to the X space. If you're on YouTube
Before I
live,
respond,
head over to the X space. Omar?
So FSD is never going to be complete. There's no finished. You're always making it better. The world's always changing. At some point, I assume the improvements level off. It's going to be way past driverless, and you don't worry about it. But already today it can do point-to-point trips with no human input. So, okay, what level of interventions or